Any people who depends upon another for their existence will sooner or later die. When you get sick, who hospital you go to? When you get hungry, who supermarket you go to? When you got to stay at a hotel, who hotel you staying in? We are completely dependent on non-black people for our essentials, and that is very dangerous because a consumer is the financial equivalent of a slave. And we have to transform ourselves before we get transformed out of here. I don't want to single y'all out because all of Black America have lost our way. And we got to find our way back because America actually thinks she can rid herself of Black people. And she's bringing in immigrants right now to replace you in the workforce so you become absolutely irrelevant to this country. I say that to say this: whatever your major is, and mine is psychology and political science, but whatever your major is, you better be thinking about how you're going to roll that over into an entrepreneurial endeavor. You will sooner or later have to work for yourself. If you're a nursing student, you better open up a clinic. You're an engineer, you better open up a firm. You're a lawyer, open up a practice. My educators, your own school. Whatever your major is, you need to start thinking about how I'm going to flip this into a business because America has no more room for jobs for Blacks. In fact, 60% of all college graduates in America right now, and this just came out last week, 60% of all college graduates in America are working in a field that has absolutely nothing to do with the degree that they earned. Let me tell you why I'm saying that. Dr. Umar, are you telling me I'm wasting my time? Not necessarily. It all depends if you can answer this question for me. Are you at FAMU trying to be the best political science major? Are you trying to be the best psychology major? Are you trying to be the best pre-med business social work major, African studies major? Because if you are not here to practice Black excellence, you are wasting your time and you are wasting your parents' student loan money. Because the world you're going to see when you leave Tallahassee is extremely competitive. And the only Black people who will make it are those who are the best at what they do. So what I'm saying, if you are one of those Negroes who barely go to class, or barely pass the class, or barely show up for finals, then guess what? You might as well drop out now because you are majoring in mediocrity in a world that will only tolerate Black excellence. So for those of you who are focused, you're not wasting your time. But for those of you who are lethargic and docile and disinterested and just going through the motions, you should just go ahead and drop out now and save us all some time. Understand, racism operates in every state where there are HBCUs. I live in Pennsylvania, and I went to a PWI, Millersville University, and I regularly saw how the Pennsylvania state system of higher education saw to it that Millersville University had all the money it could want. Westchester University had all the money it could want. Cheney State University almost gave them nothing at all. You feel me? There's a lot of money that is due to FAMU that is going to FSU. And if there's something that you all need to get involved in, is y'all need to get involved in writing to your state legislatures, your state senator, and your governor as to why y'all don't have more funding at FAMU so we will have more faculty positions. A lot of what you're going through here is not due to poor leadership, it's due to a lack of funding. And y'all need to get busy and active putting pressure on the state government to fund FAMU the same way it funds FSU.
Question right here, Umar.
So the question is here, what life experiences
early or recent, cultivated the way you carry yourself today, how you present yourself to the world?
That's a good question. I don't know if I have a great answer, but I will share this. It was in the 3rd grade that I decided I wanted to be a psychologist. And then in the 4th and 5th grade in North Philadelphia, we had Black History class. So I was introduced to a knowledge of self at 9 and 10. In 6th grade, my father took me to my first family reunion, and that's where I learned that I was related to Frederick Douglass. So before I left elementary school, I knew I would be a psychologist, I knew I would be a pan-Africanist, and my blood relationship to Frederick Douglass gave me not only a sense of honor, but a sense of purpose to try to complete his work. And I've never departed from it since then. I'm saying all that to say, and I hope I'm answering the question at least in some fashion, that every one of you have a purpose for being on this earth. You negotiated that purpose in heaven at the feet of the Most High. It doesn't matter what religion you belong to, it's only one God. In heaven, God gave you a purpose for this incarnation. You've been here before, you're going to come back again. Your job, while you're here at FAMU, is not just to finish, but to find your purpose. And once you find your purpose, give your life to it. This is important for y'all, because some of you are wrestling with what major you're going to pursue. I strongly advise you take your time unless you're certain. I knew since the 3rd grade, so when I got to college, it was a foregone conclusion. I took up political science as a 2nd major because I also had a love for law. I'm still considering going to law school because we don't have a major Black educational attorney in this country. But with that being said, don't choose a career for the money. Don't choose a career because your parents was in it. The career you choose must be in alignment with your divine purpose. Because I don't care how much money you make after graduation. If you are not living your purpose, you will not be happy. As a therapist, I can tell you, I've done therapy with very wealthy people who were miserable because they were not living their purpose. Find and fulfill your destiny.
Powerful, powerful. We're going to hit this side real quick, and then we'll go to the other side briefly. One question, fam.
What comes out of the mouth can never be put back in it. Take your time and choose your words, not only with each other, but especially with what you say to yourself. Positive thinking produces a positive vibration. And if that positive vibration is strong enough, it will lead you to a positive frequency that can only attract more of the same positivity. This is why when you're going through bad times, it tends to be a roller coaster. Because once you start saying negative things to yourself, about your life, you're now vibrating at a low negative frequency. And guess what? That energy you're emitting is attracting more negative experiences. Why am I having such a bad year? Because you are vibrating at a low energy. Negative energy is low, positive energy is high. And I'm going to say this, be careful who you hang with. Because some of you are being spiritually drained by the people you are around. And with that, be careful who you lay with. First, I want to say that even in Mexico, there were Africans who were there before Columbus. So there are Mexican Africans, right? And there was slavery in Mexico too, right? So we were there. Now, there's no such thing as being half black because the African gene is the dominant gene. Our DNA rules. So it's never half and half because our side is too strong. It's like chocolate milk and vanilla milk. It ain't half vanilla, it's chocolate. Now, Psychologically, though, our mixed race Africans have to make up their mind on which side of the fence do they stand. Now, because your father is Mexican American, it's not as tough for you because you're not Caucasian, okay? Or your father isn't Caucasian. But the point that I'm making, as a Pan-Africanist, I don't do half black, I don't do multicultural, I don't do biracial. You either black or I don't deal with you. You see? Now, don't let anybody tell you you're not African. You don't have to get nobody permission to be black. It's in your blood. You just have to claim it and affirm it. And identifying as African doesn't mean you reject your Mexican ancestry. Because everybody in here got a little bit of something else in them. But that little bit of something else in you does not disqualify the fact that you are overwhelmingly African. And that's where you should stand.
My name is Jaden Howard from St. Petersburg, Florida. I'm a senior information systems scholar. And you listed 5 things that you said was the biggest issues with, black progression in America. And one of them was economics. I'd like to focus on that. I would like to hear your thoughts on Dr. Claude Anderson's I'm thinking of a word. It's called powernomics. I was thinking of something else. And also, given the structural inequalities and historical barriers with a capitalist society, what are the biggest challenges the African American community faces in achieving economic self-sufficiency?
Yes, sir. First of all, I have tremendous respect for Dr. Claude Anderson. He and I shared the stage several times. And I think that all of you need to read at least 2 of his books, Black Skin, White Mass, which is, Black Labor, White Wealth. Black Skin, White Mass is Frantz Fanon's book that if you are a bunny hopper, you should read that one. But Black Labor, White Wealth, Claude Anderson, and of course, Powernomics. The economic imperative is critical because you can't save the race without a solid economic foundation, okay? One of the reasons why other groups don't suffer the internal fighting and the internal selling out that we suffer is because they stay loyal because they can get help within their group. If you need help 9 times out of 10, you got to go outside the black community. That does not breed loyalty or pride. So we got to get the economics right. The problem with black economics is not economics. It's black psychology. Black people don't have a loyalty to themselves financially. The black dollar does not discriminate against other people. And that's our problem. Our money should be partial to us, and it's not. The black dollar circulates once in our community, and it leaves. The Jewish dollar, about 25 times. Anglo-Saxon dollar, about 18 times. Mexican dollar, about 15 times. Asian dollar, about 14 times. Black dollar, 1 time. How are we going to employ each other? How are we going to build hospitals, banks, supermarkets, hotels, manufacturing and distribution if we can't keep the money in the community? Right. The first step, we got to change our priorities. Black people, not only do we not produce anything, we are conspicuous consumers. Conspicuous consumers. We spend too much money on things that we do not need. $2 billion on Air Jordans every year. $4 billion on liquor every year. $30 billion on hair, weave, perm, and beauty every year. It's too much. It's too much. So the point that I'm making, if black people do not reorganize our financial priorities, if we keep up this conspicuous consumption, we will be exterminated. Marcus Garvey said it best. Any people who depends upon another for their existence will sooner or later die. When you get sick, who hospital you go to? When you get hungry, who supermarket you go to? When you got to stay at a hotel, who hotel you staying in? We are completely dependent on non-black people for our essentials, and that is very dangerous because a consumer is the financial equivalent of a slave. And we have to transform ourselves before we get transformed out of here. I want you to go into law enforcement, Princess, so you can get the experience. But it is my hope that you graduate to becoming an attorney. Okay? What is my opinion on blacks in the military or the white power structure? I'm not against it. If you're going in, to look out for us. Some black people would say we should never be police. We should never be CIA. We should never be Homeland Security or FBI. Yes, we should. Because if we don't have nobody on the inside, how do we know what the hell they planning against us? So I need black police, I need black FBI, I need black CIA, but I need them to bring back to the community the information we need to protect ourselves against the government's next campaign. But if you're going to go in there and coon out, then we don't need you. But if you're going to be loyal, we need you.